the sure sign of a good time. The just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Welcome to this week's Picks. I'm Tony Softli, and Randy Karraker sitting next to me here. Randy, you know what? We've seen a lot of things go on in Rams Park. We've seen Sam Bradford get hurt. We see Steven Jackson go down and come back. We've seen the offensive line be decimated and you know, popcorned in and out. The first time this year we had a suspension. Austin Pettis, the rookie wide receiver, is now suspended for 4 games. Will miss the last 2 this weekend against Pittsburgh, next week against the 49ers, and the first 2 games in 2012. Your reflections on the young man?
Well, number one, he unfortunately was what I expected him to be. I didn't think that he would be great, and he did get better as the season went along, and he has good hands, but he's not an explosive guy. I think that next year he'll really be behind the 8 ball with whoever is in charge of the organization, knowing that they won't have him for the first 2 games of the season. And what he did, and he admitted it, was really stupid. Taking Adderall, which is an ADD drug to help focus, is just not a smart move at all, especially with, as you say, the way the receiving corps has been decimated this year. It's almost inconceivable to me that a guy would take that and not go to the club and say, hey, am I safe in taking this? Talk
to your agent, talk to the club. Reggie Scott, the trainer's there to help you, your NFLPA rep. Too many people around you to help you in that situation. You're right, it was a selfish move, it really was. Let's get back to the game. Let's talk about the Rams offense. Kellen Clemens will be at the helm. It's doubtful, or Bradford is really going to be out. He can't play. You know, how does he take this offense and move it forward against a Steeler defense that is probably pretty angry going into this game?
Yeah, there are a couple of things that the Rams will have to do if they're going to have any success at all. Number one, and this would be if the offensive line was healthy and playing well, against Pittsburgh, you got to get the ball out of there in a hurry. And the one way that you can have a level of success against Pittsburgh is if you have a quality tight end and can get the ball to him. We actually saw it the other night with Vernon Davis of San Francisco. So that, to me, will be a key, is getting Hendricks the football. And then the other thing you need to do is try to establish some sort of a run with Steven Jackson. And the other night, Frank Gore had 65 yards for San Francisco. Hey, he scored on a touchdown run. This is a defense, especially with essentially them having 1 day to prepare for this game, and they're beat up physically. This is a defense that I think that the Rams will be able to do a little bit of damage on if they're aggressive and play really hard up front.
Ben Roethlisberger, questionable if he's going to play. They're selling it that he's going to play. I think that's just a smokescreen. You know, and when you look at this offense of Pittsburgh, what does the Rams have to do to take advantage of Mendenhall, Mike Wallace, Antonio Brown? There's a lot of blue players, a lot of weapons out there, and really they're outnumbered in talent.
And what the Steelers have at the wide receiver position is what the Rams lack. When you talk about the guys that you mentioned, when you talk about Wallace and Brown and Sanders, and they're getting great work out of Jericho Cotchery, and they still have Hines Ward around, and they have the tight end in Heath Miller. Their skill position players will, physically, they're dominant. But they're dominant over the Rams' defensive players. But once again, I go back to the fact that they're beat up, and Charlie Batch is likely to be their quarterback. I think it's going to be really hard for them because I think the Rams will be blitzing. They'll be dialing up some looks that Batch hasn't seen. I think it's going to be hard to get the ball into the hands of their receivers deep downfield.
Okay, here we go. This week's picks, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, and I think the Rams, even with the physical deficiencies that Pittsburgh will have. Keep in mind, Pittsburgh got into Pittsburgh from San Francisco at about 6:30 on Tuesday morning, off on Tuesday, a light practice on Wednesday. Thursday was really the only day that they had to work, and then Friday a light one going into Saturday. So they aren't going to be heavily prepared for this game. I think Pittsburgh, though, will be able to put a touchdown on the board, swish them with a couple of field goals, and I don't think the Rams will have an opportunity to get into the end zone. I look for about a 13-6 Steeler win.
I, too, will go 13, but I'm going to go to 3 for the Rams. I think Josh Brown will be able to kick 1. Other than that, I don't think they're going to get close to that end zone because, you know what, Mr. Harrison's back, and he's coming with some bad intentions. Believe me when I tell you that.
No doubt about it.
Hey, well, thank you for joining us for this week's picks. For Randy Karraker, I'm Tony Softli. Make sure you log on to 101 ESPN, 101sports.com, and don't forget TonySoftli.com as well. See you next week.